And we are also going to give a quick tribute to the late Hulk Hogan, man. And like Brother Quiz was in there when I gave this spiel before, but I'll give it again. Today we are just going to choose to focus on the character of Hulk Hogan, the man, and how everybody feels about him. I respect it. I won't say that I disagree because a lot of it I agree with, but we are choosing today just to focus on the character in ring, on screen, known as Hulk Hogan to the world, man. So basically, all I was saying to the brother Quiz is my introduction to Hulk Hogan growing up is pretty much, I was born in 94, you feel me? So I missed a lot of the early stuff where he pretty much put the wrestling world on the map. So we always going to pay respect to that factor, of course. Uh, we want to start by saying, of course, rest in peace to the late, great Hulk Hogan, who passed away this past July 24th, 2025, I believe in his home in Florida. He was known to the wrestling world as an icon, man. The face of professional wrestling, undisputably. Nobody can debate that. When we talk about a generation of wrestling that needed a star and someone to be that superstar, that's what Hulk Hogan was, man. Vince McMahon himself chose him personally to be that superstar, and he did a great job ushering in professional wrestling into every home in America and beyond that. So we want to pay respects to that part. Again, I was born in 94, so my introduction to Hulk Hogan was pretty much Hollywood Hogan and WCW. That's how I kicked it off, and it was fire from the beginning. That's just how I looked at it. At first I didn't understand why, the professional wrestling world was up in arms about Hulk Hogan becoming a heel, and I was still like trying to learn the terms of wrestling and what all of that meant. But seeing the heel turn and then seeing where they took the NWO and how all of that panned out and where it went, he took the wrestling world again to another level and a new height. Uh, just in that aspect. So it helped WCW, but it also helped WWF, known as WWE now. At that time, we had the Monday Night Wars. We got that out of it as fans, so we can't be mad at that. Um, and then when he came back to WWE, I forgot what year that was when he came back. He did show up. They showed up as the NWO, Hollywood Hogan still, but eventually he went back to, Hulkamania, Hulk Hogan, went on his run and eventually retired from WWE. But even in those later years, we got stuff like him versus The Rock at WrestleMania. We get the classic moment of Undertaker dragging him down the hallway on a motorcycle. Like I saw that circulating on Twitter this week or X. Sorry. Uh, so yeah, it's just moments like that we got growing up as children, and you know, uh, I'll say the wrestling world will miss Hulk Hogan for sure. Again, we are choosing to separate the character from the man. Again, I agree with a lot of the other stuff being said, but we're gonna leave that for another day and another time, man. So we want to just say rest in peace to Hulk Hogan, man. If you brothers got any stories you want to share about growing up watching like Hulkamania or Hollywood Hogan, y'all free to share those. Uh, we just want to pay him proper respect, man. We lost an icon, and the wrestling world is definitely going to miss you for sure, Sir Hulk Hogan. And may Hulkamania forever run wild, brother. Rest in peace, man. So any of y'all brothers, if y'all got any stories y'all want to share, y'all are free to share them, man.
Before I got into the wrestling world, I mean, my introduction to Hulk Hogan was through movies. Rocky 3. I mean, when he Rocky was fighting him in the beginning before he went on to fight Mr. T and everything. So I remember him from that. Three Ninjas, High Noon at Mega Mountain. I mean, like I used to watch the Three Ninjas with my cousins and all that when we was younger. So to see him on there, and then when I got into the wrestling universe and saw how big he was to the community and everything, like I ain't understand it, but I do remember Christmases getting a Hulk Hogan um action figure. I mean, like my parents was definitely Hulk Hogan fans and all that, but that was my early introduction to him was basically through movies, and then as I started watching and understanding the history, I'm like, okay, and then the documentary, the Mr. McMahon documentary opened my light to it even more because it was like a whole episode dedicated to him and when he came over and all that stuff. Then even watching rivalries, seeing how it was the WWE versus the ECW and hearing all that and everything. So yeah, man, I'm pretty sure a lot of people will miss him, will miss Hulk Hogan and everything. So condolences to your family.
And I remember Hogan for, I'm 35. I kind of remember like him back in the WWF, but like when I really tapped into him was when he went Hill and shit. I used to watch WCW, but I was mainly like I was a Sting fan and shit. Like I ain't really fuck with Hogan like that, but I knew of him. But once he turned Hill, that's when I kind of like start, you know, paying attention more to the character and all that shit like that. You know, condolences to his family. You know what I mean? He powerful in the wrestling world. Can't deny that. You know what I mean?
Rest in peace, Hogan. First version of Hogan I seen was Hollywood Hogan, NWO Hogan. I didn't even know Red and Yellow Hogan. I mean, NWO. I mean, it explains itself. One of the greatest factions of all time. I know there's a lot of people out there mixed reactions and stuff, but as far as wrestling business, like there's no way you could ignore what Hogan did for professional wrestling at the end of the day. So I mean, that's pretty much it for me. You know what I mean? Rest in peace, Hogan.
Yeah, when I got into Hogan, it was definitely around like that heel time when he was Hollywood Hogan, and then he came back to WWE and then had the whole like match with The Rock and all that. World lost, man. Well, the wrestling world, they lost, man, the icon. Uh Hogan, he laid down like a lot of like groundwork. Like he was really one of the first ones to make all this and just pro wrestling like mainstream. You feel me? Like he was WWE's like first John Cena. He was the first Rock, the first to be here and to go Hollywood and do movies and things like that. Like Quid said, like one of the first movies I seen Hogan in was Three Ninjas. That's a hood classic. So man, the wrestling world, they for sure go miss Hogan, man. Peace and condolences. He done a lot for the culture. So yeah.
I was growing up, I was more of a WCW guy. So, seeing Hogan with the NWO, which also I credit as the greatest heel turn of all time. But seeing that was great TV, especially growing up. It kept me as this. If when I think about where my love for wrestling came from, that's what it always dates back to that. Um, and Hogan's part of that.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't like a Hulk guy growing up. I'm not going to pretend I was like the biggest Hulkster or anything like that. But in terms of just like taking it mainstream, he's obviously the guy. I mean, he's obviously kind of like the Babe Ruth of wrestling in terms of like things like that. I was always a Stone Cold and the Rock guy, but I respected what he did for the business. I mean, I'll give him that. He easily had the biggest heel turn of all time. I mean, I know they try to give it to Cena, but I mean, it was Hulk. I mean, we have to give him that. I mean, in terms of kind of, he's essentially the blueprint in terms of just being like the guy that kind of paved it in going to Hollywood. I mean, The Rock is kind of like the second coming of that. I mean, he's easily kind of like the founding father. So it's definitely a ginormous loss. I mean, I respect what he did for the business and everything like that. So, I mean, rest in peace to him. So.
I just want to tell you, man, rest in peace to that brother Hulk Hogan, man. My first wrestling match I ever watched before was Hogan versus Warrior, and I was a little active as kid when I was young. So when my grandmother put that shit on, I think she seen that shit, got my attention to where I wasn't moving around or going to touch shit that I wasn't supposed to, and like what I'm saying. But yeah, man, I think that Hogan, probably arguably the GOAT. If he ain't the GOAT, he's the logo of wrestling. The character Hulk Hogan, for what the brother did for the wrestling business. Like we wouldn't be here. Me personally, I don't think we would be here right now talking, discussing wrestling if it wasn't for what Hogan did, how he carried, wrestling in the late 70s and 80s, and then, revamped itself in the 90s with the NWO, which was a big, it was something. It was big for wrestling at that time, man. And yeah, I don't think the brother will ever be able to be mimicked again. I like I tell you, I don't be worrying about people' personal life and shit like that when I talk about things. I'm as far as the wrestling business, like, bro, I just don't think it will never be another one. Hulk Hogan, man, the brother is a goat, man. Uh, yeah, but I mean, that's pretty much what I have to say, man. I know I've seen a lot of people slandering him online and shit or whatever, you know, but I, that doesn't make me hate him. You know what I'm saying? So Hogan gonna always be one of the goats, man. He's definitely Mount Rushmore. I know some people might not, agree with that, but I mean, I don't think you can have a Mount Rushmore without having Hogan on that. So, like, and maybe it was because of the favoritism from Vince or whoever, but I mean, Vince shit always works sometimes, man. And that's just what it was, bro. So rest in peace to that brother, man. And that's all I got to say.